Hey YouTube, it's ICU, and today I'm going to show you guys how to jailbreak any iOS device that you mistakenly updated to iOS 8.1.3 or already purchased running the firmware by first updating to iOS 8.2 Beta 1 or Beta 2, and then using either TaiG for a Windows-based PC or PP for a Mac to successfully jailbreak. Alright, so to start off before we begin, there are some things that I will need to mention, and I will actually have annotations down below on the bottom of this video to skip ahead for those of you who are more proficient in jailbreaking. With that said, this method only functions on up to iOS 8.2 Beta 2. And just note that unlike iOS 7 and 8 betas, iOS 8.2 Beta 1 and Beta 2 do not contain time bombs, meaning once you update to the firmware, you will not be forced to restore to another firmware and essentially be locked out of your device, as Apple has done in the past. So this is incredibly good for those of you who, again, updated to iOS 8.1.3 or are just stuck on the firmware, because you can successfully jailbreak now by first updating to 8.2. Again, Beta 1 or Beta 2. You cannot jailbreak on Beta 3 or higher, so that is absolutely crucial. And the method that I'm going to show you guys to actually update to iOS 8.2 utilizes an iTunes workaround, so it is for educational purposes only. I will not provide you guys with direct IPSW download links. However, there will be a post down below in the more info that will contain all of the things that you need. So with that said, let's go ahead and get straight into the first part of this tutorial, which is updating to iOS 8.2 Beta 1 or Beta 2. First of all, you're going to need your IPSW downloaded for your proper device. That is absolutely crucial that you do download the correct one. And if you're on a Windows-based PC, it might put .zip at the end. If that's the case for you, you're going to need to delete that so that it's just .ipsw, and then iTunes will recognize it. And this part is universal, meaning it will work on a Mac or a Windows computer. So we're going to open up iTunes right now, and then from there, just plug your device into your computer. I'm going to first of all show you guys one last time that this 5th generation iPod Touch is indeed running iOS 8.1.3. We are inside of Settings, General About, and down below at the bottom for the version, it does state 8.1.3. So now that we have that out of the way, let's go ahead and continue. Again, I have iTunes open, and I'm going to plug the iPod Touch into my computer here just via standard lightning cable, and let's go ahead and trust the computer here on the iPod Touch. And then once iTunes recognizes your device, you're going to navigate to its overview. And now that we're inside of the iPod Touch portion of iTunes here, we're going to take advantage of the workaround that I told you guys about. So if you're on a Mac, hold down the Option or Alt key on your keyboard. If you're on Windows, hold down Shift, and then from there, left click check for update. Do not left click restore. And once you do that, it will bring up a selection window to actually browse for the proper IPSW. And once you've located it, you're going to open it. So I'm going to just click on open now, and it will ask me if I want to restore my iPod Touch to iOS 8.2. And because I do, we're going to click update here, and we're going to let this update proceed. I'm going to leave the iPod Touch up on the screen here throughout the duration of the process, just so you guys can see approximately how long it should take. Again, it will vary for you, and just note that this 5th generation iPod Touch does not have its UDID enrolled in an Apple developer account. We are again bypassing the UDID requirement check. And that was just Parallels coming up asking me where I wanted to connect the device to, and we're actually going to get into that later when we jailbreak. So for now, I just connected it to the Mac, and we are continuing inside of iTunes. The restore is proceeding, and again, it will vary for you based on your device as well as your computer. So just let it do its thing, and note that it will go through a number of verification checkpoints. However, it will bypass them when utilizing this method. Actually, inside of iTunes right now, it says that it's verifying the updated iPod software, and we are continuing. So again, like I said, this method will work for you if you have the proper iOS 8.2 Beta 1 or Beta 2 IPSW. And now in iTunes, we've moved on to updating iPod software. We have yet to receive progress on the bar that's actually on the iPod Touch's screen itself, but let's just go ahead and let it do its thing. Alright, and as you can see, now we have minor progress, and just note that the progress bars won't align. The one inside of iTunes is for that specific step, whereas the one on your device itself is the overall progress of updating to iOS 8.2 beta. Alright, and inside of iTunes, it's saying that it's verifying the updated iPod software again, so we're just going to let it continue, and I'm actually going to close out of this pop-up here really quick. It's just from Parallels asking me to update. Of course, they come at the most inconvenient times, but we are still continuing with this restore and upgrade to iOS 8.2 beta. Alright, and it should go through one last verifying step before it finishes, and as you can see, iTunes does say that this iPod has been successfully updated and that it's restarting. So this message should go away now, and the iPod Touch will just reboot, and once it does, I'm going to show you guys that it is indeed running iOS 8.2 beta. So I'm actually going to just minimize iTunes here, and we're going to let the iPod reboot. And once it does, again, we're going to load into settings, but first it just needs to go through one simple step. It actually finishes the restore on the device itself, and this step shouldn't take too long, so just wait for your device to continue on to the reboot. All right, and here we go. The iPod Touch should come back up shortly, and let's wait for that. All right, so now we're at the lock screen. I'm going to go ahead and unlock it, and we're going to launch settings and then general, followed by about, and down below at the bottom for the version. It does indeed confirm that this 5th generation iPod Touch is running iOS 8.2. As you can see there. So now we're on iOS 8.2. We've upgraded from 8.1.3 on either Windows-based PC or a Mac in the case of this tutorial, but remember, it is universal. And now let's get to the good part, jailbreaking. There are a few things that we need to do first, though, to prepare our device. I always do this, but if you don't, for whatever reason, go inside of settings and then general, followed by auto lock, and then from there you're going to set it to never. This is just an extra precaution, and I definitely recommend it as it could interfere with the jailbreak process. And now for the absolute 2 most important things. We're going to need to disable passcode lock, and below general you'll see passcode, and if you have a Touch ID enabled device, that setting will reflect that. But we're going to go inside of it, and if you have it enabled, you're going to turn it off. As you can see, I don't have it on. It gives me the option to enable it, but we're going to leave it completely off. And if you have Touch ID, again, you're going to need to disable it completely for this jailbreak. And also you're going to have to log into iCloud if you aren't already. So scroll down inside of settings, go to iCloud, log in, and then once inside of iCloud, you're going to go down below to the Find My iDevice portion of it. It will change for you based on your device. So if you have an iPad, it'll say Find My iPad, iPhone, Find My iPhone, iPod Touch, in this case, Find My iPod Touch, and you're going to disable that. So again, just inside of settings and then iCloud, Find My Device, disable that. And once you've done that, you should be good to go and you will be able to continue with the jailbreak. And now switching over here, I'm going to briefly go over the steps that Mac owners are going to follow before actually going over the TaiG jailbreak, because that is the latest utility. So I'm going to show you guys how to jailbreak utilizing TaiG. So what you need to do is download PP on a Mac, and then you're going to have to open the DMG or disk image it gives you. And once it does, you're going to need to transfer the file over to your applications folder. Now I already have it inside of applications, but let's just go ahead and drag and drop it and hit replace anyway. I also have a shortcut here on my desktop, and before you can actually allow PP to run on your computer, you're going to have to open up system preferences and then go to security and privacy up at the top, and then down below at the bottom, you're going to click on this lock to unlock system preferences and to make changes. From there, you're going to have to allow apps downloaded from anywhere. Once you do that, you will be able to successfully open PP, and then all you're going to have to do is just uncheck the box at the bottom that will install the third-party Chinese distribution software. You're not interested in that, you don't want that, so you're just going to uncheck that, and then you're actually going to proceed with the jailbreak by clicking on the main button there. As you can see, it does identify that my 5th generation iPod Touch is indeed running iOS 8.2, and this is the first beta. So just keep that in mind, it does confirm it, and once you click on that main button to continue, it will proceed with the jailbreak. However, I'm going to close out of it and we're going to switch over to Parallels here, and I'm going to go over the process with you guys. So I actually have TaiG downloaded right here. It is in a zip format, and that's what you're going to get. If your computer has anything installed that does handle zips or attempts to, it might interfere, so you will probably have to uninstall it. Again, that will just depend on you and your computer though. So let's just go ahead and double click it to open, and we're going to drag the TaiG jailbreak tool to our desktop. And once it's there, we're going to close out of this, and we're going to continue simply by opening up TaiG. However, first, because this is a virtual machine, I'm going to ensure that the iPod Touch does connect to it by switching over here inside of the USB settings, so that way the 5th gen iPod can be recognized, iTunes immediately pops up, and it's good to go. It does confirm that the iPod has been trusted on both the computer and the device. That's something you're going to need to do if you haven't done so already, but considering we just updated to iOS 8.2, you should be good to go on that front. And now I'm going to open up TaiG, and we're going to continue. So let's click on run there, and once TaiG opens, it should identify your device running iOS 8.2, and now let's uncheck the box at the bottom just like we did on PP, and it's just going to tell you what you're actually unchecking. So let's go ahead and click the X to that. Now we're good to go. I'm going to enter airplane mode mode on the 5th generation iPod Touch here, so that way the process runs smoothly. So let's go ahead and just enter airplane mode. I definitely recommend doing that before jailbreaking with either PP or TaiG. And now I'm going to click the main green button at the bottom here to jailbreak, and it is proceeding. We do have progress here. We're at 30% already. So let's go ahead and wait and let it do its thing. And now it's quickly continuing on to 70+%. All right, we're at 90%. We should get the green smiley face indicating that we're good to go, and the jailbreak has been successfully delivered in just a second, so just wait for that. All right, now the jailbreak has finished, so it's just going to reboot. We are good to go. We are jailbroken on iOS 8.2. Let's go ahead and let the iPod reboot. And once it does, I'm going to unlock it and launch Cydia. Also, at this point, it is safe to unplug your device if you have yet to. So now let's go ahead and unlock it. And we're going to exit out of airplane mode. That is very important before you launch Cydia, to exit airplane mode if your device is still inside of it. And now we're going to scroll over. As you can see, we do have Cydia now. It's going to prepare the file system, and this process you can actually skip past. However, do not exit on your device while it's preparing the file system. Leave Cydia open and do not interface with your iPhone, iPad, or iPod Touch in any shape or form. Again, you're just going to let it finish preparing the file system, because if you do, and if something happens, you may have to restore your device and you will be forced into doing so. So let it prepare the file system, and once it finishes, it will automatically respring on its own, and then you'll be able to open up Cydia and you'll be good to go. All right, there we go. It did respring. We have the Apple logo. It's not actually rebooting. Again, this is just a respring, meaning it's restarting the device's springboard, and it will be at the lock screen soon. From there, let's go ahead and unlock it. And swipe over to Cydia, and I'm going to show you guys that down below at the bottom, Cydia does indeed confirm this is a 5th generation iPod Touch running iOS 8.2, so I'm going to go ahead and scroll down here. All right, so as you can see down below at the bottom, Cydia does confirm that this is an iPod 5.1 with iOS 8.2 and Cydia 1.1.16. So this is a 5th generation iPod Touch successfully jailbroken on iOS 8.2. We first started out on iOS 8.1.3, and of course we did upgrade to iOS 8.2 for the sole purpose of jailbreaking, because like iOS 8.1.3, the vulnerabilities that are utilized to achieve an untethered jailbreak are patched in iOS 8.2 beta 3 and later. So now this is just a temporary solution for those of you who have yet to jailbreak and who are on iOS 8.1.3. I hope you guys liked this video and I hope it helped you. Remember to rewatch it in its entirety if you have any sort of complications along the way, and click the skip annotations if you need to. And again, if it did help, I definitely appreciate it if you guys would rate this video up and leave a relevant comment down below in the comment section. And if you guys are interested in being updated more often, such as when I release new jailbreak coverage, whether it's of the tutorial or update nature, then just be sure to like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter. Of course, click on that subscribe button down below next to my channel name if you have yet to and you're on the main page for this video. And until next time, this is ICU signing out.